complete and effective border security package ever assembled by our country or any other country for that matter. So important. This plan was not developed, I'm sorry to say, by politicians. We have a lot of politicians, but you respect the people and you know the people that have developed this plan. It was designed with significant input from our great law enforcement professionals to detail what they need to make our border, which is 100% operationally secure, 100%. Everyone agrees that the physical infrastructure on the border and the ports of entry is gravely underfunded and woefully inadequate. We scan only a small fraction of the vehicles, goods, and all of the other things coming across, including people. And sadly, the drugs pour across our border. We're going to stop it. Investment in technology will ensure we scan 100% of everything coming through, curbing the flow of drugs and contraband while speeding up legal trade and commerce. It's the most heavily traded monetarily border anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. To make certain that we are constantly making the upgrades we need, our proposal creates a permanent and self-sustaining border security trust fund. This will be financed by the fees and revenues generated at the border crossings itself. Importantly, we're already building the wall, and we should have close to 400 miles built by the end of next year, and probably even more than that. It's going up very rapidly. And I want to thank the Army Corps of Engineers. They're doing a fantastic job on the wall. And that's a wall that is desperately needed. As we close the gaps in our physical framework, we must also close the gaps in our legal framework. Critical to ending the border crisis is removing all incentives for smuggling women and children. Current law, that's right. That's right. Women and children. People have no idea how bad it is unless you're there and unless you are a member of law enforcement. They see it every day and they can't believe what they see. Current law and federal court rulings encourage criminal organizations to smuggle children across the border. The tragic result is that 65% of all border crossers this year were either minors or adults traveling with minors. Our plan will change the law to stop the flood of child smuggling and to humanely reunite unaccompanied children with their families back home, and rapidly, soon as possible. We must also restore the integrity of our broken asylum system. Our nation has a proud history of affording protection to those fleeing government persecutions. Unfortunately, legitimate asylum seekers are being displaced by those lodging frivolous claims. These are frivolous claims to gain admission into our country. Asylum abuse also strains our public school systems, our hospitals and local shelters, using funds that we should and that have to go to elderly veterans, at-risk youth, Americans in poverty, and those in genuine need of protection. We're using the funds that should be going to them, and that shouldn't happen. And it's not going to happen in a very short period of time. Have to get this approved. My plan expedites relief for legitimate asylum seekers by screening out the meritless claims. If you have a proper claim, you will quickly be admitted. If you don't, you will promptly be returned home. Crucially, Our plan closes loopholes in federal law to make clear that gang members and criminals are inadmissible. These are some of the worst people anywhere in the world, MS-13 and others. Inadmissible, not coming in. We're taking them out all the time by the thousands a year, but they come in. They are no longer admissible. And for criminals already here, we will ensure their swift deportation. We will keep our communities safe. Americans can have complete and total confidence that under this plan, the borders will finally be fully and totally secured. And I know a number of our Republican friends and others, Lindsay, I see you sitting right there, and Steve, you're working on a plan, an immediate plan, a smaller plan, but a very immediate plan to stop it as of this afternoon. So as fast as you can get something done. This is the big, beautiful, bold plan, but we need something very quickly, and if you can get it done, that would be fantastic. Okay? Thank you. Appreciate you working on it. A topic of less discussion in national media, but of vital importance to our country, is our legal immigration system itself. Our plan includes a sweeping modernization of our dysfunctional legal immigration process. It is totally dysfunctional. The system will finally be fair, transparent, and promote equality and opportunity for all. Every year, we admit 1.1 million immigrants as permanent legal residents. These green card holders get lifetime authorization to live and work here and a 5-year path to American citizenship. This is the most prized citizenship anywhere in the world by far. Currently, 66% of legal immigrants come here on the basis of random chance. They're admitted solely because they have a relative in the United States, and it doesn't really matter who that relative is. Another 21% of immigrants are issued either by random lottery or because they're fortunate enough to be selected for humanitarian relief. Random selection is contrary to American values and blocks out many qualified potential immigrants from around the world who have much to contribute. While countless, and you wouldn't believe how many countries like Canada create a clear path for top talent, America does not. Under the senseless rules of the current system, we're not able to give preference to a doctor, a researcher, a student who graduated #1 in his class from the finest colleges in the world. Anybody, we're not able to take care of it. We're not able to make those incredible breakthroughs. If somebody graduates top of their class from the best college, sorry, go back to your country. We want to keep them here. Companies are moving offices to other countries because our immigration rules prevent them from retaining highly skilled and even, if I might, totally brilliant people. We discriminate against genius. We discriminate against brilliance. We won't anymore once we get this passed, and we hope to get it passed as soon as possible. Some of the most skilled students at our world-class universities are going back home because they have no relatives to sponsor them here in the United States, and that's the only way. We want these exceptional students and workers to stay and flourish and thrive in America. Thank you. As a result of our broken rules, the annual green card flow is mostly low wage and low skilled. Newcomers compete for jobs against the most vulnerable Americans and put pressure on our social safety net and generous welfare programs. Only 12% of legal immigrants are selected based on skill or based on merit. In countries like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and others, that number is closer to 60 and even 70 and 75% in some cases. The biggest change we make is to increase the proportion of highly skilled immigration from 12% to 57%, and we'd like to even see if we can go higher. This will bring us in line with other countries and make us globally competitive. At the same time, we prioritize the immediate family of new Americans, spouses and children, the loved ones you choose to build a life with. We prioritize, and we have to do that. They go right to the front of the line, right to the front of the line where they should be. America's last major overhaul of our legal admissions policy was 54 years ago. Think of that. So a major update, and that's what this is, merit system and a heart system, is long overdue. The millions of legal immigrants who have come to America over the past half century are now cherished members of our national family. Going forward, it is their interest and in their interest and their children's interest to adopt a green card system that promotes a rising standard of living for all of our citizens. 3 in 4 new jobs at the end of last year went to Americans previously out of the workforce. Our economy is better probably than it ever has been in the history of our country. And because of that great economy, we're able to do things that nobody ever thought possible before. And that's what we're going to do for immigration, finally. Wages are rising, but our current immigration system works at cross purposes, placing downward pressure on wages for the working class, which is what we don't want to do. Last year, we also passed historic criminal justice reform. And we had tremendous backing, bipartisan, from Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals. I guess we could also use the word progressives, a new word that's come about. Americans with criminal records are getting a second chance at life in higher numbers than ever before. Unfortunately, the current immigration rules allow foreign workers to substitute for Americans seeking entry-level jobs. So foreign workers are coming in and they're taking the jobs that would normally go to American workers. America's immigration system should bring in people who will expand opportunity for striving, low-income Americans, not to compete with those low-income Americans. Our proposal fulfills our sacred duty to those living here today while ensuring America remains a welcoming country to immigrants joining us tomorrow. And we want immigrants coming in. We cherish the open door that we want to create for our country. But a big proportion of those immigrants must come in through merit and skill. The White House plan makes no change to the number of green cards allocated each year, but instead of admitting people through random chance, we will establish simple, universal criteria for admission to the United States. No matter where in the world you're born, no matter who your relatives are, if you want to become an American citizen, it will be clear exactly what standard we ask you to achieve. It will be made crystal clear. This will increase the diversity of immigration flows into our country. We will replace the existing green card categories with a new visa, the Build America visa, which is what we all want to hear. Like Canada and so many other modern countries, we create an easy-to-navigate points-based selection system. You will get more points for being a younger worker, meaning you will contribute more to our social safety net. You will get more points for having a valuable skill, an offer of employment, an advanced education, or a plan to create jobs. We lose people that want to start companies, and in many cases, they're forced to leave our country, go back usually to the country where they came from, and they'll start up companies, and some of those companies are among the biggest and most successful companies today in the world. They could have started them right here in the United States where they wanted to do it in the first place. Now they'll have a chance. Priority will also be given to higher wage workers, ensuring we never undercut American labor. To protect benefits for American citizens, immigrants must be financially self-sufficient. Finally, to promote integration, assimilation, and national unity, future immigrants will be required to learn English and to pass a civics exam prior to admission. Through these steps, we will deliver an immigration system that respects and even strengthens our culture, our traditions, and our values. 4 months ago, I had the honor of participating in a swearing-in ceremony for new Americans right here in the Oval Office. It was a beautiful reminder that American citizenship is the most precious gift our nation has to offer. When we swear in new citizens, we do more than give them a permit. We give them a history, a heritage, a home, and a future of limitless possibilities and potential. Our nation used to pride ourselves on this capacity, our unique ability to instill the spirit of America into any human heart, into any human being. Many of the Democrats have claimed to be for these concepts at different times in their careers, and in many cases, in very recent history. And I hope that they will end up joining me and all of the people gathered together today in putting politics aside, putting security and wages first, and pursuing these historic reforms. It's time. And if for some reason, possibly political, we can't get the Democrats to approve this merit-based high security plan, then we will get it approved immediately after the election when we take back the House, keep the Senate, and of course, hold the presidency. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. But wouldn't it be nice to do it sooner than that? But it's not a very long time, is it? 16 months. One of the reasons we will win is because of our strong, fair, and pro-America immigration policy. It's time to restore our national unity and reaffirm our national purpose. It is time to rebuild our country for all Americans. Together, we will create an immigration system to make America safer and stronger and greater than ever before. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We've just heard President Trump giving more details about his new merit-based immigration plan. He would like to see new immigrants to this country have some education. He says he would like to have them all speak English, take civics tests before granting them citizenship. Joining me now from Washington is Leslie Sanchez. She is a CBS News contributor and Republican strategist. So, Leslie, you know, some of the things that he mentioned are already required. I mean, you do have to take a civics exam before you become a U.S. citizen. So right. What were some of the specific new details that the president would like to see?
You know, it's interesting. There's a massive transformation that the president just laid out. You know, he talked about a fair, modern, and legal, lawful system. But there was a lot of code in what the president's saying. In many senses, he's correct. He's talking about, for the past, he pointed out 54 years, that we have not seen a major change in green cards and the allocation of who is eligible to receive them. It is the most coveted thing. And listening to it, it was almost like a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. We're going to keep doing these great things that encourage legal immigration in the United States, but we're going to transform the entire system to reward high-skilled, put a premium on high-skilled, higher-wage labor. And he also talked about individuals that are not a drain on the safety net. What that's saying is, if you look at the last 4 decades, when the focus on immigration, we needed in this country for economic growth a lot of low-wage, low-skilled workers who did everything from industrialization, agriculture, construction. But as the country and the economy has changed, everything from mining to, I just said agriculture is under a lot of pressure globally. Mm-hmm. And the president is correctly pointing out we need more of these high-skilled workers to stay in the U.S. who've wanted to be entrepreneurs. We've heard about cases and examples. People wanted, to start the next Facebook or Alibaba or any of these kind of tech companies, Amazon, but could not stay in the United States and did so elsewhere. He's speaking to that, and he's saying by supporting business with these workers, I'm taking the focus off low-skilled workers that are not as much a premium in the president's plan, and it puts less pressure on a lot of lower-wage workers in the United States. So it's going to be a win for him, for individuals that are concerned about undocumented labor, putting pressure on low-wage jobs, and also he's talking about enforcement. It's that 1-2 punch, securing the border to do this.
Right.
And he's got a lot of viability. Changing it, though, and getting that appetite, I think in the grassroots community, it's going to be probably supported more than people think. Congress is going to be the one that's going to have to grapple with those details.
All right, at the White House now, we also have CBS News White House correspondent Paula Reed. We just heard Leslie describe all of the elements of the president's plan that she thinks will appeal to voters. But I have a question for you, Paula, because if we bring in a lot more skilled immigrants, which the president would like to see happen, won't those skilled immigrants compete for the same jobs that Americans are competing for, just on a higher level?
Well, Tanya, there are some Republicans who are concerned about the fact that this new plan does not bring down the total number of green cards that are issued. It will remain at about 1.1 million, even though it will be redistributed from the folks who have family members here or who win the lottery to these more highly skilled workers, because there are some Republicans who believe, of course, that even legal immigration hurts U.S. workers. But Tanya, one of the most significant aspects of this plan is what's not in it. This in no way addresses the millions of undocumented immigrants who are living here illegally, or the so-called dreamers who were brought here illegally as children. And without any proposal to address those issues, this plan is pretty much DOA in Congress. And Leslie just touched on that. Really, the toughest challenge for the president here will be Congress. And so far, all of the policies that he has put forth to deal with immigration have been blocked, either by the courts or by Congress.
And Leslie, the president must know this, correct?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a political calculation.
So he must imagine that this is just going to be a big, ugly fight in Congress. So he knows he's not going to get this through. Is he just calculating then that the press will be good for him?
Wow, I don't know. I don't know that I wouldn't say. I don't know that I'd say he won't get this through. I don't know that it will look like this. But the Republicans lost on health care. They have to get something done on immigration. This is a political imperative. Paula is exactly right. The reason, in my opinion, that he did not talk about what to do with the 11 to 12 million estimated undocumented individuals here or the dreamers is because that is a lightning rod for Republicans. You mentioned that, and that is the death knell. It's over. Conversation is done. But this allows the Democrats to come forward and bring up, bipartisan solutions about what, in a humane way, to allow individuals who are contributing to our economy to be here legally, pay their taxes, and get in line. The question will get into the details of, is it legalization, some sort of legalized card like the late Senator John McCain talked about, or will it be a citizenship? I don't think Republicans are going to move on that.
Right.
But dreamers will be that low-hanging fruit. I think the president will give them that. The president will ultimately, and Republicans, I believe, give in on this, what to do with the undocumented, and in exchange for more border enforcement, finally dealing with this and readjusting the allocation of the green card.
And Paula, a lot of people will look at this and say, this could be a re-election rallying cry to get, to win back the House for Republicans. I mean, the president can say, here's my plan. Voters not only have to put me back in the White House, but they have to give the House back to Republicans.
That's right. And what's so interesting here is one of the great challenges for the Trump administration has been getting policy ideas through the courts, through the agencies, through Congress. And they've really changed their approach here on immigration. They have shifted the messenger from Stephen Miller, the more hardline approach that he has taken with very concrete examples and concrete proposals, and has passed this off to his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. He's been the face of this so far, and this plan is long on optimism, long on patriotism, but short on specifics. It seems they believe this softer approach, this more open-ended approach, may be a more successful way to start a conversation in Congress. Whether or not they're successful in that conversation or it helps them in 2020, that remains to be seen, because so far the president has not really been able to deliver any sort of policy changes on immigration, even though that was a cornerstone of his 2016 campaign.
Right, and I think we can all predict how Democrats are going to react to this one. All right, Leslie Sanchez and Paula Reed, thanks to both of you. CBS News can confirm President Trump told Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan that he does not want war with Iran. This comes as U.S. officials say there are photographs of missiles on Iranian boats in the Persian Gulf. This intelligence reportedly caused the White House to escalate its warnings of threats in the region. According to the Washington Post, the president is upset with his advisors over his administration's response to Iran. He reportedly prefers a diplomatic approach and wants to talk directly to Iran's leaders. The president denies any infighting, but tweeted yesterday, "Different opinions are expressed, and I make a decisive and final decision. It's a very simple process. All sides, views, and policies are covered. I'm sure that Iran will want to talk soon." CBS News national security correspondent David Martin joins me now from the Pentagon. Hi, David. So American officials say they've got hard evidence of threats from Iran. What more do we know about that?
Well, they have satellite photos taken of an Iranian port, the name of which is Chabahar. And Chabahar is located on the southern coast of Iran, just outside the entrance to the Persian Gulf. And in these satellite photos, you see these commercial ships, about 40 to 60 feet long. They're called dhows. And on those dhows are loaded what U.S. intelligence says are short-range ballistic missiles. And the suspicion is that those ballistic missiles, which are normally kept inside Iran are being ready to be taken somewhere else where they could be within range of targets that involve American interests, such as the shipping lanes into and out of the Persian Gulf. Now, I'm told that you can't actually see the missiles, even with the high-resolution spy satellites that the U.S. operates. What you see is the canisters, the containers in which they are usually carried. Whether or not there's actually a missile inside there is unknown, but obviously if you're a military commander responsible for protecting your forces, then you have to assume that there are real missiles inside those containers. And in recent days, the Iranians appear to be almost taunting the U.S. with these boats as if they assume that the U.S. can see them with its satellites. And so they've taken the boats out of the harbor, but they don't go out far enough to go into international waters, so they're still safe from attack, and then they go back into port. And it looks like they're just trying to get our attention. But that, to intelligence analysts, is pretty significant evidence that Iran is certainly trying to do something it has not done before. And today, the U.S. got a kind of a backup from the British foreign minister, who said his assessment is that the threat of attack from Iran has increased.
All right, and that's different from what we heard yesterday. So,
yeah.
David Martin, we thank you for that.
Sure.
Alabama has now become the first state with a near total ban on abortion. Republican Governor Kay Ivey signed the controversial bill yesterday. It makes performing the procedure a felony punishable by up to 99 years in prison unless the mother's life is in danger. There are no exceptions for victims of rape and incest. The move is seen as an attempt to get the Supreme Court to overturn federal laws protecting abortion rights, and now other states are looking to follow suit. CBS News correspondent Jerika Duncan reports from Montgomery, Alabama.
All human life is precious.
Alabama Governor Kay Ivey signed the nation's most restrictive abortion ban into law Wednesday, saying it's time for the Supreme Court to revisit Roe v. Wade.
Where's the money coming from to support people who aren't ready to be mothers or aren't financially stable to take care of a child?
You simply cannot defer protecting lives of unborn children because of cost.
It's a law that's designed to end Roe versus Wade for good.
CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman says it could be 2 years until the Alabama law makes it to the Supreme Court. Others will reach the docket first.
You may have a whittling away of Roe long before there would be a case that could ultimately overturn it.
Kleeman says it's likely the justices will hear at least one abortion case by June 2020 in the middle of the presidential campaign. A number of Democratic candidates were quick to weigh in on the Alabama law yesterday, calling abortion a constitutional right.
This is an existential fight for the right and liberty to control your own body.
The precedent is clear, and yet they've decided they're going to take away a woman's basic right to make a decision.
It's nothing short of an attack on women's basic human rights and civil rights.
So far in 2019, at least 28 other states have introduced some version of an abortion ban. Early this morning, the Missouri Senate passed a heartbeat bill of its own. It will now head to the House for approval.
We all hope Roe will be overturned, but it's designed the day that it is signed to go into effect to save the lives of women and children across this state.
Coming up, Bill de Blasio becomes the latest Democrat to throw his hat into the 2020 ring. Why the New York City mayor thinks he is the best candidate to take back the White House. You're streaming CBSN.